I must admit, you're the happiest guest I've seen. I had to lambaste Chris Gilmore the other day because he looked as though he was going to kill somebody standing in the middle there. So keep smiling, and we'll look on the bright side of life, as Paul says. Hot or not on the US ETF?
Look, given the thousands of businesses within the US, I love some businesses and I like some businesses within that economy to buy. But as an aggregate, I'm going to have to say not hot. I think the market's run too hard.
Europe, excluding, why is that funny, Paul?
I was so hopeful there, but you know.
Europe, excluding the United Kingdom, is an economy dominated by Germany and France, but Italy, Spain and the Netherlands are also significant. The Dow Jones Euro Stoxx 50 is also a capitalization-weighted index containing stocks like Siemens, Total and BASF. Radio. So, Mr. Look on the bright side of life.
Things are going even better in Europe.
No bad news out there.
Angela Merkel got re-elected in the most significant economy of all, which of course is Germany. And the reason it's done so well, Germany, is because they've been exporting all of their manufactured goods into the balance of the European market. Never forget that in aggregate, Europe is the largest economy in the world if you treat it as a single economy. Obviously, you know, if you treat it as nation states, it's a little bit smaller. France, I don't know, you can say what you like about the French. Everybody loves to hate them, but their productivity is very high and they've got some very, very good companies. L'Oreal, the banks like SocGen and BNF and those kinds of companies, very strong. Then you start adding in recovery stories like Spain and Italy. I think the green shoots are turning to green shrubs, or turning into green trees. This is definitely a market you want to be in.
I'd say, but this must be a fair hunting ground for a value manager.
That's spot on. I think we all know the bad news to come out of Europe for the last couple of years. They've just managed to, as an aggregate, work their way out of recession. So I think a lot of that bad news has been priced in. I think what it ignores is a similar story to the US, where a lot of earnings in the European market is actually derived from outside of Europe. So, and unlike the US, US companies were traditionally conservative in terms of where they went outside of the US. European firms have gone to Asia and Africa, Latin America quite aggressively. So I think from a growth perspective, long-term European firms are actually in a pretty decent position. That and prices are depressed because of all the bad news that we've come out. So that's a perfect recipe for a value investor.
Would you go here for the what's it, Dow Stoxx 50?
Look, the Dow Stoxx 50 is just a single traded instrument, no UK stocks, important to note, but it's the 50 largest corporate titans. So that's the ones like the ones you mentioned, French company, Total, oil company, Siemens, big German industrial company, BASF, which is a chemicals producer in the German market. Then you add in the Swiss, drug companies like Sanofi, Aventis and the likes. It's a nice mix, it's sectorally diverse. There's some cell phone companies in there as well. So I just think it gives you everything you need in a one-stop kind of location. And more importantly, it's not so much the earnings, it's the reflation of the price to earnings ratios, the sentiment improvement. Because you've seen in the hot stocks portfolio how much money we made on that Steinhoff position. It's the same thing. It's just the idea that suddenly the business flows look better, therefore the stock price ought to trade higher.
I like that description, a one-stop shop where you get access to everything. Tsepo, on the back of that, hot or not on the Dow Stoxx 50?
I'm going to have to say very hot. One of my favorite stocks is in there, BMW, so how can I not find it hot?
Paul, hot or not?
Yeah, no, I like this one too.